everyone, welcome to another video with me, Amy, and A to Z Yoga. Today's video is all about the causes of back pain and trying to ease your back pain by understanding what the cause of your back pain is. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to focus on the spine and the posture. And to have a back and a spine that supports you properly and that doesn't cause you back pain means that you need to have a neutral spine position. I spoke about this in some other social media platforms that I'm on Instagram and on Facebook in my live videos this week, where I discussed a little bit more about this, so feel free to pop over to those channels to have a look at those live videos. But for this video, we're going to be focusing on trying to get you to understand and feel what that neutral spine position is. So for today, you're just going to need a mat, some space at a wall, which we're not going to stay at, but just for one little exercise, and a brick. If you don't have a brick or a yoga block, then you can use a book that's roughly around this size or around the size of a yoga block, just because you need that kind of length, really. Okay, so get those things sorted and we'll begin. Standing up against a wall with our feet a little bit away from it, not too far, just a little bit away. And what you're trying to do is get your back into a position where the back of the skull, the back of the shoulder blades, and your sacrum, which is right here, just above your tailbone, all touching the wall. So the closer you can get your feet to the wall with those 3 points staying in line, the better your natural posture is, really. If you're in this position, I mean, you wouldn't really be able to do it with your feet straight because it kind of forces this position in the back. But if you can allow your feet to come forward and still feel that you've got the sacrum there, shoulder blades there, skull there, you're in a great position. If you can't get yourself into that position with the feet, let's say as close as mine are right now, walk them just a little bit further away and just soften the knees, just a slight bend, and then let your arms relax. Take a few breaths there and see if that will help you to draw the ribs back and draw the belly back. And it's that drawing of the belly and the ribs back that actually are going to help your shoulder blades, your skull and your sacrum to all come into that position. So you should feel once they're there that you've got a really nice widening in the shoulders, and like your head is really stacked over your shoulders and even over your hips. This is an optimum position for your spine to be in. So if you can come from this position and then walk around with those 3 points staying in line with each other during the day, chances are you're going to be in a much better place to alleviate or get rid of completely back pain. So now we're going to do a few exercises starting from this position to try and really get the body moving into this position naturally and more comfortably. So if you just rest your arms by your sides and close your eyes, we're going to take a few breaths, really deep breaths into the belly. And as you're breathing into the belly, I want you to press a bit more into the balls of your feet, especially your big toe mounds. And as you're inhaling, you try to expand the belly, the back of the ribs, and let it go right up into the chest. On every breath, try and get even more of that positioning of the shoulder blades, more of that positioning of the head, and more of that positioning of the sacrum. And as you come more naturally into that position, which will happen over time, partly because of gravity and just being able to sink into the wall, you're going to try and remember this feeling, what it feels like to have your head in line with the hips, to have your shoulders in line with the hips. to try and feel where the spaces are in your back. So you'll feel that there's a gap around the back of the neck and a gap in the lower back. That's not the sacrum, that's just above the sacrum. And then bring a bit of awareness to the positioning of your pelvis and even your ribs. And just check that both sides of your hips, both sides of your ribs are pressing up against the wall evenly. Same with the shoulder blades. So we can really get as much of an optimum position to begin with as we possibly can. And now, keeping this position, softly open your eyes. Focus on keeping those 3 points in line with each other. And then from your hips, you can place your hands right in your hip crease if that helps you to figure out where you need to come from. You're going to press into your feet. Don't change the position of your spine, just fold from your hips. Now, if you are pregnant like me and you've got a belly in the way, try and keep the spine in that position, but just make the feet wide so that you can actually have space to bend. And then keep bending. Move your hands away as and when you need to. Now be careful as you keep folding to not start rounding the spine. So you take yourself to the point that you can without your head, your shoulder blades or your sacrum coming out of line with each other. If you feel yourself starting to round, bend your knees more and then see if you can find more space in the hips to fold and get your hands to the ground. And you're going to hold it in this position for a moment and take a breath. And then nice and slowly walk your hands forwards to walk away from the wall and bring yourself down and onto all fours. Then you're going to grab your brick. Now we're going to start to focus a little bit on understanding the movement of our spine and where there might be some blockages for us. So that will tell you what's causing your back pain. So you're going to grab your brick, whatever you have, book, and just place it on the back of the head so that it goes just below the neck. And then you're going to pull, you don't want your head to be dropped in this position, you're going to pull your head up, bringing it in line with the spine so the throat comes up. And that should then bring you more again into the same position that you had at the wall. And see if you can then get the shoulder blades to feel like they're in the same position. So you're going to want to draw them slightly towards each other, but then pull the belly in, pull the ribs in, and get the pelvis to come into that nice elongated position. That should have you working the belly quite well, have you working the ribs quite well, which should take some of the weight away from the feet and some of the weight away from the wrists. Now, keeping your head in this position, so you're not going to let that block or brick move, or your head move, you're going to press into your left hand and extend your right leg out behind you and up. As you extend it out and up, watch what happens in your back. Watch what happens in your spine. Can you hold it in that position and then extend the left arm out without losing anything? Hold it and breathe. And then take it back down. Good. It should be pretty hard when you're doing it without moving anything else. It is hard work, I tell you. Now again, keep the head in that position, shoulders, belly, ribs, lower back, and then push into the right hand and extend the left leg. And then extend the right arm and hold. Can you do that without moving anything? And take it down. Good. Let's take the brick off for a second. So hopefully you felt that you could keep it in that position. Don't worry if in the beginning you really struggle to move the arm and the leg without moving anything else. For you then, if that's the case, you can start with the hands and the legs going a little bit lower so that you're really focusing on moving with that stability in the spine. Now we're going to focus on moving the spine, seeing where our blockages are. So you're going to push down into the hands and the feet and start to tilt your tailbone down to the floor. As you tilt it, draw the belly in. Take your time with this and you're going to keep going through the spine all the way until you get to your upper back and your neck. And then you're going to go from your tailbone again
and you're going to start to tilt the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Take your time. This isn't a quick movement. This is a slow movement because we're trying to tune in to our spine. You're going to keep going with it, moving through each vertebra of the spine, all the way up to the chest and all the way up to the neck. And your head, your throat, still staying in line with your upper spine. Don't tilt the chin up, otherwise you're taking it out of alignment. You're losing that positioning. Let's try it again. Tilt the tailbone down, draw the belly in, start to feel that wave coming through the spine. Can you feel every single part of your spine moving and articulating? Or are you finding you get to a certain spot and you get stuck? That's normal if you are. And again, tilt the tailbone up. Keep moving it. Moving all the way through the spine. Really nice and slowly. Another thing that you can do is do this in front of a mirror, or even better still, film yourself doing this and then watch it back. And you'll be able to see as you're doing it where you get stuck. So if you film yourself and you start moving, and let's say you get to about here, and then all of a sudden you kind of stop moving through the rest of the spine and you just puff up. This tells you that probably there's a bit of a lack of movement through the upper part of the spine. Maybe for you, you're here, you can't get hardly any movement in the lower spine, and then you just go straight into this. So then you're maybe a little more movable in the upper spine, but have a lack of movement in the lower spine. So this is just a really good test, but also a nice opener to try and alleviate where you get stuck. So we'll do it one more time each way, just to, again, really get that movement, get that ease. Trying to feel every single part of the spine as we move along. Good. And then we're going to bring it back to that neutral position. So find that position that you had at the wall again. Can you get the throat up, head up in line with the spine, shoulder blades moving into the back, ribs and belly hugging in, and pelvis in line. And then just to loosen some of the hip area that tends to get a little bit stuck, I want you to push into the left foot and raise the right leg and just twist it in and out without moving the pelvis. So again, you're focusing on keeping your body in that position. If it helps you, again, you can have the block behind your head so that you have that as a reminder to keep your head up. Bring that leg down. We're going to do the same on the left side. Push into the left foot, lift the push into the right, lift the left leg, and then twist. Good. And then bring the leg down and take the block off. Okay. Now keeping your head in that position, your spine in that position, we're going to keep our shoulder blades sitting on our back and try, without moving the spine, to just bend the elbows and not lose the shoulders, and push back up. So this can be quite a small movement. It doesn't need to be very big. It's just you trying to maintain that position of the 3 points of the back whilst you're moving something else, which is the trick to moving around properly in life. So keep the belly in, the shoulder blades stay on the back, and then you bend your elbows and hug them into the sides of the waist and push them back up. Again, if it helps you, use the block, brick, on the back of your head, so that as you bend down, you're not going down from your head, you're going down from the arms and pushing back up. Let's try 2 more. Whew. And back up. Now we can definitely take the brick off, move it to the side, and then from here, press into the left foot and take your right foot forwards and come up. If you're pregnant, then you can have that right foot slightly out to the side just to make space for the belly, for the baby. If you're not pregnant, then I would suggest you walk that foot a little bit more in line with the hip.
just to really get that kind of boxed position. Now again, think about those 3 points: skull, shoulder blades, sacrum. Push down into the back foot and lean your body weight back a little. So then you start to feel as if you're on that wall and you're drawing everything back in line with the wall. And then you should, without even having to do hardly anything, you should be able to feel a bit of an opening or a lot of an opening in the left side of that hip, the front of that left hip. And then from there, inhale, raise your arms up, let the shoulder blades elevate. Grab hold of your left wrist. Keep squeezing the feet towards each other so that you're really getting that opening in the left hip. And then reach up out of the ribs and go over to the right. Don't twist, just go over. And then back to center. Let the arms come down. From your hips, fold forwards. Remember, we're trying to keep all of these 3 points in line with each other the whole time as we move, and then come back with that leg. Both hands down again, and then we're going to step the left foot forwards and come up. Again, that foot can be slightly out if you're pregnant, or more in line with the hip if you're not. And just the same as you did on the other side, shift your body weight back a little bit. Push down into the back foot. Start to feel that then drawing the throat back, the shoulder blades back, so it's all coming in line with the sacrum. All those 3 points really lining up with each other till you feel this beautiful opening in the front of that right hip. I really love this, especially being pregnant. Your body comes more into this position and it just blocks this whole area. So anything like this, it's the same for people who are sitting, working all day at a desk. You're constantly hinging in the hips. You need this movement to open up the front of that hip. It's delightful. It's so juicy. And then take your arms up, grab hold of your right hand, and again, with that length, keeping the belly and the ribs back, the spine in that position, go up and over. So even in this position, yes, you're moving the spine to the side, but your head, your shoulder blades, and your sacrum are staying in line. And then back to the center. And then place the hands down. Remember, those 3 points staying in line, and bring the foot back. Perfect. Now tuck your toes under. Move the knees back a little without moving the feet. And then take your hips back. Again, if you're pregnant, make your knees and your feet as wide as you need to make space for the belly. And then walk your hands forwards a bit, keeping the chest open. Now, even more in this position, watch you don't start lifting your chin up. I know I am, but that's because I'm looking at the camera. Try and keep your throat in line with the spine and the skull, shoulder blades and sacrum all in line with each other. Walk the hands forwards a little bit more. Perfect. And then push down into your knuckles, turning out through the hands a little bit, just to switch those shoulder blades on a bit more, and push straight up through the hips into down dog. Now don't worry about getting your heels down to the floor. More importantly, focus on the positioning of the spine and see if it feels like it's still on the wall. You've still got those 3 points connected to the wall. And then if you can keep them in that position, you can try and push your heels towards the ground as long as it doesn't change the position of the pelvis, because if it does, this is going to happen, and then guess what? You've lost those 3 points. Now keep pressing down into the left foot, raise your right leg, and step it forwards as far as you can get it, and then come up. Now immediately bend your back knee, because we're going to keep that back knee soft so that we can focus even more on these 3 points. Now squeeze your feet towards each other again, so you should start to feel the front of the left hip opening up in that really lovely juicy way. And then as you're squeezing the feet together and you're opening up that back hip, can you find more length? Can you find more space to raise yourself up through the body? And then inhale, raise your arms up like they're lifting from the hips, keeping the spine in that position. You're then going to turn that back foot out to 90 degrees. Walk the front foot in so the heel is in line with the back foot. And then take your arms down to shoulder height. Now push down into the back foot, and again, what is happening in your head, your skull, your shoulder blades and your sacrum? Are they staying in line with each other? Can you then push into your back foot and bend your front knee a bit more, pushing it away from the back leg as far as you can without kind of going with it. And then from here,
Again, lift yourself up out of the spine, keeping the hips open, and then reach up and over through the waist. Really feel like your back foot is helping you to find that length. And then inhale from the waist, you're going to reach down, up and over with the left arm, placing the right forearm on the right thigh. And again, you're keeping the skull, shoulder blades, and sacrum all in line with each other. And then inhale, come back up. Turn slowly back onto the toes of the back foot. This time, straightening your back leg, bending your front knee. And as you straighten your back leg again, squeeze the feet together. Can you push your back heel away in a certain way that makes you feel like you create more length through the body? And then from there, take your hands into a cactus position to start off with. Hug the shoulder blades slightly towards each other and bring your hands to the back of your head. Then keeping your legs in this position, inhale, lengthening up through your chest. Imagine a string is pulling your chest right up to the ceiling, and as it's being pulled upwards, you're going up and slightly back. But even though you're going slightly back, you want to still have this sense of the skull, shoulder blades and sacrum staying in line with each other. I know that might sound weird because they're not in a line, they're bending now, but they're bending with each other. You haven't got one going away from the other. And then from here, fold from your front hip, hands down either side of the front hip, and then step it back and back into your downward dog. Woo. Good stuff. Okay, now again, can you keep those 3 points feeling like they're in line with each other? Can you get your heels towards the ground without the pelvis moving? If you can't, forget about the heels. Doesn't matter. The most important thing is those 3 points. And then step the left foot forwards and lift it up. Oops. Try not to lose your balance. Like me. And then again, bend your left knee and bend your right knee. Start squeezing the legs together. Feel the back hip coming forwards, front hip coming backwards, and feel the front of that back hip opening up, again in that lovely way. Inhale, raise your arms from the hips, finding even more length in the spine, more length in the sides of the waist, and more opening in the front of that back hip. Keep that length as you turn the back foot out, and then walk the front foot so the heel comes in line with the back heel. Arms down to shoulder height. Then push into that back foot as if it's dialing outwards. And again, keep the skull, shoulder blades and sacrum in line with each other. Try to avoid being in this position where you're kind of hinging at your hips. I want you to lift out of them. As you lift out of the hips, bend your front knee like you're pushing it away from your back leg. Keeping that position and that focus on the back foot, you then get even longer. Reach up with your left hand and go up and over to the right. Breathing through the sides of the waist. Inhale, come back to center, and then reaching over from the waist again, go over to bring the left forearm down, right arm up and over, and keep pushing down through the back foot in a way that really focuses the energy through the back of the leg and the back of the body, keeping all those 3 points in line. And then inhale back to center. Slowly turn back onto the toes of the back foot. Coming back into this lunge position, but now straightening your back leg, finding even more length as you reach up through the waist, up through the arms, and then take them to a cactus position again. Slightly hug them towards each other, the shoulder blades, and then keep squeezing the legs towards each other as you push the back heel away. Inhale, reach up out of your chest. Keep reaching, taking your hands to the back of your head, and then really lengthen from the hip all the way through to the top of your head. Feeling again like you're keeping those 3 points moving with each other, not one moving away from the other. Inhale back to center. Bring your hands down, and then foot back. And you're going to stop in your all fours position. And then from there, slowly walk your hands back. Come back onto the soles of your feet. Bend your knees and come up with a flat back. Those 3 points in line. Now that we've done all of that, we're going to come back to the wall. So this isn't a long exercise, a long video. This is more just to
really get you feeling things and feeling the body in that way. Oh, I need to catch my breath again. So again, come back to the same position as you had at the very beginning, right up against the wall. And see how you feel now. After having moved the body in those ways, opening up the front of the hip, opening up the spine, can you feel more that now as you're in this position, it's easier to have the back of the skull, the shoulder blades and the sacrum in line with each other? I feel like it is for me, so I hope it is for you. But if you can't feel that yet, then try repeating that whole sequence that we did 2 or 3 times. See if that will then warm you up even more, get things moving even more, so that when you come to this position, you feel like it's easier, it's not so much of an effort for you to get those 3 points in line. And then from here, we're going to come away from the wall, and we're going to come and lie down and have a little bit of a rest. And again, if you are pregnant, you can grab your brick, bring it in between your shoulder blades as you lower yourself slowly. Just grab a hold of your head and let your head drop into your hands. So it's kind of like a little modified back bend. It's just a nice way to come into a Shavasana. If you are not pregnant, you don't need to do this necessarily, but you might want to anyway. And then you can stretch your legs out. So if you're not pregnant and you're not using the brick, you're just lying on your back now. Let your legs roll out. Your hips relax. And then if you feel you can, if you're on the brick, you can open your elbows wider. And then just take some nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. And then if you're on the brick, bend the knees again. Elbows come together or towards each other. Lift your head and then just gently let go of your head as you roll onto your side. Move the brick out of the way. And then you can bring yourself up to sitting. For everyone else, you just bend your knees, roll onto your side and come up to sitting. And that's it for today's video. So today was a little bit shorter, but only because I really just wanted you to understand the spine and feel how to get it into more of a neutral position. If you have any questions, maybe as we were going through it, you noticed something that you could or couldn't do in your spine, a restriction in your spine, and you're a little bit confused, either pop it in the comments below, or you can send me an email at info@amyzara.com, amyzara.com. And otherwise, if you loved the video, please share it, like it. As I said on my last video, it really does help my channel to get seen on YouTube, because they like to see that people are interacting with your videos. So please comment, like, share it with people you know will benefit from it, or just anyone that you love. It's always good to share. And I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful week. Namaste.